Good morning everybody, it's Amanda, and today I'm going to show you how to make biscuits. It is bright and early in my house. No one is up, and so I'm going to make biscuits. My mom is actually here, and when my mom is here, she always wants me to make biscuits because her mom always made biscuits and my mom never really made them. So she loves it when I make them for her because it kind of, you know, everything comes full circle and it's just kind of a memory thing. So I'm going to show you how I make it, and the recipe that I use I actually got from my Better Homes and Gardens cookbook, which if you have seen my videos before, you know that I actually have several. I get asked often because I have several on top of my fridge, how many do you need? And the answer is a lot, because they are all different, but they're all very good. And the recipe that I use for biscuits actually comes from my oldest Better Homes and Gardens cookbook, which I actually got for free at a yard sale. And I would suggest if you can find an older one, they actually usually have really good recipes in them. So I'm going to show you everything that you need on the counter, and then we're going to get started. So I'm going to tell you everything that you need for a single recipe, although I'm going to actually double this. So the first thing that you need, of course, is flour. And I just have mine rebagged right here. A single recipe is 2 cups of all-purpose flour. I'm telling you a single recipe, I almost always double or triple it just because of the size of our family. And I know I have folks coming in for Thanksgiving, so I'm gonna have a lot extra. So 2 cups of all-purpose flour, 4 teaspoons of baking powder, a ½ teaspoon cream of tartar. Back here I have my salt and my sugar, and you need a ½ teaspoon of salt, but then 2 teaspoons of sugar. We're going to use 2/3 cup of milk, which I almost never have milk, but we have this little bit of leftover, so I thought this was a good way to use it anyway. And then you want to use either shortening or butter. This is all that I have left of some shortening that was in a container. So I'm actually going to use what's left of that and then use butter for the difference. I prefer it with all butter, but like I said, I'm trying to use this up. So either way, you need just 1/2 cup of fat. Either butter or shortening, pick one, or both. But anyway, so 1/2 cup of fat, you do that your way. Here's the key though. Your fat needs to be cold. In fact, the colder every ingredient is, the better. So here's the other thing I recommend, an apron. This is kind of a messy process, so get your apron on and let's get busy. Okay, so we're gonna start by putting our dry ingredients in our bowl. And of course I started with the flour and I'm getting all the other ingredients. But I am gonna be double checking because like I said, this is a double recipe, and the worst thing you wanna do when you double a recipe is miss something. So even though I know this recipe by the back of my hand, I am double checking every step. So once you whisk all of those dry ingredients together, you are gonna wanna start adding your fat. Now remember, I have a little bit of leftover vegetable shortening. So even though normally you would use 2 sticks of butter, I want to make sure that I take off a little bit because I added that extra vegetable shortening. Again, double checking those ingredients when you make a double batch. So I'm going to go ahead and put the fat in there. And then once you get the fat in the bowl, you want to get it dispersed through the dry ingredients. So here's a pastry cutter. And you want to, I usually don't even use the pastry cutter. I usually break it up by hand, but the butter that I used was still kind of frozen, so I ended up using the pastry cutter to kind of break it up a little bit. Then I started using my hands. But if you take it straight from the fridge and it's nice and cold, you shouldn't have any problem just using your hands to break it up. And when it's ready, it'll look just like crumbly pieces inside your flour. And you'll see what it looks like here in just a moment once it's all done and broken up. Just about there, and here it is. Nice and crumbly. So once that's done, you want to add your liquid. Of course, I'm putting my milk in there, and I stir it up first just to kind of get it incorporated, and then I mix it by hand. You don't want to over mix your biscuit dough. You just want to kind of get it just started to be completely mixed, and then I move everything out of the way, lay my flour down, dump it out, and completely get it together into a ball of dough. Now here is my secret. I do not roll my dough out. I actually press it down like you can see with the heel of my hand till it's the height that I want it to be. And it's about 1/4 of an inch, and it just depends on how thick of a biscuit you like. I like mine a little bit thinner. but I press it down with the heel of my hand rather than rolling it out. And then you go ahead and get your biscuit cutter. You want to make sure you flour that and press it straight down. Do not twist your biscuit cutter. If you twist it, it'll seal the dough and it'll keep it from rising, and you won't get all of those great flaky layers. So once you're done with that, you want to go ahead and get your pan out. I'm using my Pampered Chef pan to keep it from burning on the bottom. And I'm gonna just put them on there as I go and continue cutting out this dough that I've already spread out. Now, once you finish cutting all of the biscuits out on this dough that you've already done the first time, and I'm gonna take my last two here, then you're gonna take those little leftover pieces of dough and put them back together. Again, don't overwork it too much, just get it to where it's worked back together, and then put it back on the counter and press it back out again. And do the same thing until you've used up all the dough. Biscuit cutter straight in and out. Once you get down to the last few little pieces of your biscuit dough, I usually roll mine out and then pat it. Now this is, once you roll it and pat it and flour it, it is gonna be sealed. These aren't gonna rise as much as the others, but at least we're not letting any of our biscuit dough go to waste. And these are usually like little baby biscuits. So here are my biscuits. So this is the first, well, the last pan. You can see I have my final ones on there. And this is the other pan. So we have 12 and 7, so 19 biscuits. I probably could have, if I was more evenly sizing them, made an even 20, but that's okay. So we have 19 and we've set the oven at 450. And as soon as that is done preheating, because I forgot to preheat it earlier, we're gonna go ahead and toss these in. These are gonna cook for 10 to 12 minutes. These are very large biscuits. I used a large biscuit cutter. You could definitely get more biscuits out of that, but because they are so large, generally speaking, it's 10 to 12 minutes. If you had a smaller biscuit cutter, we're probably gonna be at least 12 minutes on these. Here's our biscuit. You can tell the sun is up. And look at those layers. They are just looking beautiful. Nice and golden and buttery. It's a perfect morning biscuit. Okay guys, well that's it for this morning. I have my biscuits made. I'm gonna whip up some eggs and put some cheese on them and have us a little egg and cheese biscuit. You can actually just eat it with butter and jelly. You know, if you're truly Southern, you have it with a glass of sweet tea, but I don't recommend it for diabetics, you guys. But anyway, so biscuits, there you go. I have a lot of friends who are in other countries who think of biscuits as cookies, and these biscuits are kind of just completely foreign, obviously, to them, and so they often ask, how do you make a regular biscuit? And so here you go. I also wanted to let you know that you can make these completely vegan. Instead of using butter, of course, you can use vegetable shortening, and instead of the milk, you can actually use a vegan milk. You can use, I've done it with almond milk, or an oat milk is also very good. Almond milk tends to be a little bit sweeter, even if you get the unsweetened. The oat milk seems to work really well, so definitely try that even if you're vegan. So, all right, that's it. You guys have a great day. We'll see you guys next time. Bye.